Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Welcome to today's reading from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, chapter 24, verse number 273. We'll continue from Mukam Karoti Vachalam, Pangum Langete Girim, Yat Kripatamam Bande Shri Gurum Din Tariram, Paramananda Madhavam, Sri Chaitanyeshwaram, Hari Om Tatsat. Ete na hi adbhuta vyadha, tavahim sadhayo gunaha, Hari Bhakto Pravritta ye na tesyuha para tapinaha. O hunter, good qualities like non-violence which you have developed are not very astonishing, for those engaged in the Lord's devotional service are never inclined to give pain to others because of envy. This is a quotation from Skand Puran. Prabhupada ki jai. So this is what Mahaprabhu is telling the hunter Mrigari. Verse 274, Tabe se vyad donhare angane anila, kushasana ani donhare bhakti vasaila. The hunter then received the two great stages in the courtyard of his house. He spread out a straw mat for them to sit upon, and with great devotion he begged them to sit down. Verse 275, Chala ani bhakti donhara pad prakashaila lila, say jala stri purushe piya shire la ila. He then fetched water and washed the sage's feet with great devotion. Then both husband and wife drank that water and sprinkled it on their heads. Purport: this is the process one should follow when receiving the spiritual master or someone on the level of spiritual master. When the spiritual master comes to the residence of his disciples, the disciples should follow in the footsteps of the former hunter. It doesn't matter what one was before initiation. After initiation, one must learn the etiquette mentioned herein. Verse 276, Kampa Pulkashru Haila Krishna Nama Gana Urdhva Bahu Nritya Kare Vastra Udana. When the hunter chanted the Krishna Mahamantra before his spiritual master, his body trembled and tears welled up in his eyes. Filled up with ecstatic love, he raised his hands and began to dance, waving his garments up and down. Verse 277, Dekhiya Vyadhera Prema Parvat Mahamuni, Naradere Kahe Tumi Hau Sparsha Mani. When Parvat Muni saw the ecstatic loving symptoms of the hunter, he told Narad, certainly you are a touchstone. Purport: when a touchstone touches iron, it turns the iron to gold. Parvat Muni called Narad Muni a touchstone because by his touch the hunter, who was the lowest among the men, became an elevated and perfect Vaishnav. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, the position of Vaishnav can be tested by seeing how good a touchstone he is, that is, by seeing how many Vaishnavas he has made during his life. A Vaishnav should be a touchstone so that he can convert others to Vaishnavism by his preaching. Even though people may be fallen like the hunter, there are many so-called advanced devotees who sit in a secluded place for their personal benefit. They do not go out to preach and convert others into Vaishnavas, and therefore they certainly cannot be called Sparshamani. Advanced devotees, Kanishthikari devotees, cannot turn others into Vaishnavas, but a Madhyamadhikari Vaishnav can do so by preaching. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu advised his followers to increase the number of Vaishnavas. Yara dekhe tara kahe Krishna Upadesh, Amar Agya Guru Hana Tar E Desh. This is from Madhya Lila, chapter 7, verse 128. It is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's wish that everyone should become a Vaishnava and Guru following the instructions of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his disciplic succession. One can become a spiritual master, for the process is very easy. One can go everywhere and anywhere to preach the instructions of Krishna. The Bhagavad-Gita is Krishna's instructions. Therefore, the duty of every Vaishnava is to travel and preach the Bhagavad-Gita, either in his country or a foreign country. This is the test of Sparshamani, following the footsteps of Narad Muni. Verse 278. Aho dhanyo asi devarshe kripaya yasya tat kshat nicho api utpulako lebhe labdhako ratim achyute. Parvat Muni continued, my dear friend Narad Muni, you are glorified as a sage among demigods. By your mercy, even a low-born person like this hunter can immediately become attached to Lord Krishna. Purport. A pure Vaishnava believes in the statements of the Shastras. This verse is quoted from the Vedic literature, the Skanda Puran. Verse 279. Narad kahe Vaishnav tumar anna kichu aaye, Vyad kahe yare pathao se diya yaye. Narad Muni then asked hunter, my dear Vaishnav, do you have some income for your maintenance? Purport. The hunter replied, my dear spiritual master, whoever you send gives me something when he comes to see me. This confirms the statement in Bhagavad-Gita 9.22 to the effect that Lord carries all the necessities to his Vaishnav devotee. Narad Muni asked the former hunter how he was being maintained, and he replied that everyone who came to see him brought him something for his maintenance. Krishna, who is situated in everyone's heart, says, I personally carry all necessities to a Vaishnava. He can order anyone to execute this. Everyone is ready to give something to a Vaishnava, and if a Vaishnava is completely engaged in devotional service, he need not be anxious for his maintenance. Verse 280. Eta anna na pathao kichu karya nai sabe dui janar yogya bhakshya matra chai. The former hunter said, please do not send so much grain, only send what is sufficient for 2 people, no more. Purport. The former hunter only wanted enough for 2 people to eat, no more. It is not necessary for a Vaishnava to keep a stock of food for the next day. He should receive only sufficient grain to last 1 day. The next day he must again depend on the Lord's mercy. This is the instruction of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When his personal servant Govinda sometimes kept a stock of Haritaki, Mairo Bailan, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu chastised him, saying, why did you keep a stock for the next day? Srila Rupa Goswami and others were begging daily from door to door for their sustenance, and they never attempted to stock their ashram with food for the next day. We should not materially calculate, thinking it is better to stock food for a week. Why give the Lord trouble by having him bring food daily? One should be convinced that the Lord will provide daily. There is no need to stock food for the next day. Verse 281. Narad kahe aiche raha tumi bhagyavan eta bali dui jana haila antardhan. Narad Muni approved his not wanting more than a daily supply of food, and he blessed him, saying, you are fortunate, Narad Muni. And Parvat Muni then disappeared from that place. Verse 282. Eita kahilun tomai vyadhera akhyan ya shunile haya sadhu sang prabhav gyan. Thus I have narrated the incident of the hunter. By hearing this narration, one can understand the influence of association with devotees. Purport. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to stress that even a hunter, the lowest of men, could become a topmost Vaishnava by associating with Narad Muni or a devotee in his bona fides disciplic succession. Verse 283. E ar teen arth gan nate paila e dui arth mili chabisa arth haila. In this way, we have found 3 more meanings of the Ātmārāma verse. Combine these with the other meanings, and the total number of meanings add up to 26 in all. Verse 284. Ar arth shuna haya yaha arthera bhandar sthule dui arth sukshme batrish prakar. There is yet another meaning which is full of a variety of imports. Actually, there are 2 gross meanings and 32 subtle meanings. Purport. The two gross meanings refer to regulative devotional service and spontaneous devotional service. There are also 32 subtle meanings under the heading of regulative devotional service. There are 16 meanings based on understanding the word Ātmārāma to mean: first, a servant of the Lord as his personal associate; second, a personal friend; third, a personal parents or similar superiors; fourth, a personal beloved; fifth, a servant elevated by spiritual cultivation; sixth, a friend by spiritual cultivation; seventh, parents and superior devotees by cultivation of devotional service; eighth, a beloved wife or female friend by cultivation of devotional service; ninth, a mature devotee as a servant; 10th, a mature devotee as a friend; 11th, a mature devotee as a parent and superior; 12th, a mature devotee as a wife and beloved; 13th, an immature devotee as a servant; 14th, an immature devotee as a friend; 15th, an immature devotee as a father or superior; and 16th, an immature devotee as a beloved. Similarly, under the heading of spontaneous devotion, there are also 16 various associates. Therefore, the total number of devotees under the headings of regulated devotees and spontaneous devotees is 32. Verse 285, Atma Shabde Kahe Sarv Vidha Bhagwan Ek Swayam Bhagwan Ar Bhagwan Akhyam. The word Atma refers to the different personalities of Godhead. One of them is the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself, Krishna, and the other are different incarnations or expansions of Krishna. Purport: the word Atma also includes all kinds of personalities known as Bhagwan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This means that Krishna has unlimited expansions. This is described in the Brahma Samhita 5.46. Diparchir evhi dashantaram abhyupetya dipayate vivrita hetu saman dharma yas tadrig evhi cha vishnutaya vibhati govindamadi purusham tam aham bhajami. The expansions of Krishna are thus compared to candles that have been lit from an original candle. All the secondary candles are equally powerful, but the original candle is that from which all the others have been lit. Krishna is the original Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he is expanded as Balram, Sankarshan, Anirudh, Parityumna, and Vasudev. In this way, there are innumerable incarnations and expansions who are also called Bhagwan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Regarding the variety of personalities known as Bhagwan, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says that the personality of Godhead known as Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and that his expansions are also called Personality of Godhead. In other words, Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is the origin of all the personalities of Godhead. Speculative philosophers and mystic yogis also meditate upon the form of Krishna, but this form is not the form of original Supreme Personality of Godhead. Such a Bhagwan is but a partial representation of the Lord's full potency. Nonetheless, he also has to be understood to be the Supreme Personality of Godhead. To clarify this matter, one should simply understand that Krishna, the son of Nand Maharaj in Vrindavan, the friend of the cowherd boys and lover of the gopis, is actually the original Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is attained by spontaneous love. Although his expansions are also called the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they are attained only by the execution of regulative devotional service. Verse 286, Tante Rame ye say sab Ātmārāma vidhi bhakta rag bhakta dui vidhanam. One who always engages in the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is called Ātmārāma. There are two types of Ātmārāmas. One is an Ātmārāma engaged in regulative devotional service, and the other is an Ātmārāma engaged in spontaneous devotional service. Verse 287, Dui vidha bhakta haya chari chari prakar parishad sadhana Siddha Sadhak Gana are. Both the Ātmārāmas engaged in regulative devotional service and those engaged in spontaneous devotional service are further categorized into four groups. There are the eternal associates, the associates which have become perfect by devotional service, and those who are practicing devotional service are called sadhakas, of whom there are two varieties. Verse 288, Jat Ajat Rati Bhede Sadhak Dui Bhed Vidhi Rag Marge Chari Chari Ashta Bhed. Those who are practicing devotional service are either mature or immature. Therefore, the sadhaks are of two types, since the devotees execute either regulative devotional service or spontaneous devotional service, and there are four groups within these two divisions. Altogether, there are 8 varieties. Verse 289, Vidhi Bhakti Nitya Siddha Parishad Das Sakha Guru Kanta Gana Chari Vidha Prakash. By executing regulative devotional service, one is elevated to the platform of an eternally perfect associate, such as a servant, friend, superior, or beloved woman. Each of these is of 4 varieties. Verse 290. Sadhana Siddha Das Sakha Guru Kanta Gana Jatrati Sadhak Bhakti Chari Vidha Jana. Among those who have perfected themselves by devotional service, there are servants, friends, superior, and beloved damsels. Similarly, there are 4 types of mature devotees. Verse 291. Ajatrati Sadhak Bhakti E Chari Prakar Vidhi Marge Bhakti Shodash Bhed Prachar. Within the category of regulative devotional service, there are also immature devotees. These are also of 4 varieties. Thus, in regulative devotional service, there are altogether 16 varieties. Verse 292. Raga Marge Aiche Bhakte Shodash Vibhed Dui Marge Ātmārāma Batrisha Vibhed. On the path of spontaneous devotional service, there are also 16 categories of devotees. Thus, there are 32 types of Ātmārāmas enjoying the Supreme Lord on these 2 paths. Verse 293. Muni nirgrantha cha api chari shabdera artha yahan ye lage taha kariye samartha. When these 32 types of devotees are qualified with the words Muni, Nirgranth, Cha, and Api, the meanings can be increased in different ways and very soundly elaborated upon. Verse 294. Batrishe Chabi se Mili Ashta Panchash Ar Ek Bhed Shunya Arthera Prakash. When we add the 26 types of devotees to these 32, they altogether number 58. You may now hear from me of further manifestations of meanings. Verse 295. Itaretara cha diya samas kariye atan bar Ātmārāma naam laiye. In this way, I add the word cha to one and one word after another. I make a compound. Thus, the different names of Ātmārāmas can be taken 58 times. Verse 296. Okay. So we'll have to continue reading from verse 296 next time. Thank you for joining. Hari Om Tat Sat. Hare Krishna. Happy Nirjala Ekadashi to everyone.